Three ways people butcher my name is SonReal, and then anytime someone just says SonReal, it must be unreal. Or SonReal, it's unreal.
Welcome to this. This is JAMESON Whiskey. We're gonna be talking about all good things that come in three.
Yes.
So I was gonna let you explain, like, where did we first?
I think the first time I met you, Byron, was at a good friend Dane's house. I was rapping for the very first time with Kev and some other people. We hit it off, and yeah, long story short, I mean, we've been homies ever since.
So throughout your career, you've lived in 3 different places.
Yeah, the 3 places I lived started with Vernon. It was my mom's basement is where it all really started for me with music and stuff. And I used to be that guy that would like nail all my hats against the wall. So there was like 30 hats around my studio. And I just had a microphone and like a really bad computer. I can vividly remember when I very first heard my voice come through the microphone over top of an instrumental, and I was just like, this is all I want to do. And I used to sit in my mom's basement until one day she was like, okay, you've graduated high school, you're in my basement, you've got to go somewhere and go do something. And I was like, well, I'm going to be a famous rapper, so like, obviously I just got to be down here working on my music. And she's like, why don't you go to Vancouver and why don't you go to audio engineering school? So I ended up going to Vancouver, and that's where me and you started hanging out a lot more. That's actually where we started working together, and you started actually managing me. I remember having vivid memories of me recording all the time with you on the bed, just on your laptop, like whatever, trying to get me a show at a pub or like whatever you're doing. I don't even know what you're doing. You're probably scrolling Facebook because there was nothing to do with my career. And that brought me all the way to getting to Los Angeles, where, you know, I signed my first deal, got a publishing deal there. And, you know, before that, it seemed like everything was just always so up in the air, whether we were going to go back to construction. Me and you have talked about this lots, but I always thought maybe I was going to have to go back to work. And I think LA was the first time that I was like, man, we might actually just be able to do music as a job. And that, from where we're from, the small town of Vernon, is like, it's almost beyond a dream. It's just something, it's a dream you never taught. My mom's going to talk to you.
Something about Aaron looked like a chia pet. Oh, it's because the plant's behind his head in the shot.
Yeah. Chia.
What are 3 venues that you've played in your career that you feel are pivotal?
So first one I'm going to say out of the 3 is Vancouver, BC, Fortune Sound Club. It was my very first time really doing a show in my city where I was making an impact and people were, you know, excited about what I was doing. I'd say second was Vancouver, BC once again, and it was my first time ever selling out the Commodore Ballroom. Kind of just a dream of ours since the very beginning. I said, one day I'm going to sell that room out, and I'll never forget coming on stage the first time and looking out, and it was just the biggest crowd I'd ever had for one of my shows. That wasn't a festival or opening up for somebody else. And the third venue, I would say, is probably Vernon, BC, Performing Arts Center. We just did this, but we sold out the Performing Arts Center in my hometown. And that's also, like the Commodore, a venue that since I've been like 15 years old, I said one day I'm going to sell out that room, sell out that venue, and we did it.
The list that I had that I was thinking that you might touch on was the Anza Club was one.
Oh, I mean, come on. Do you want to, like, I'm talking like career.
You're
like,
talking career, I'm talking about like,
I mean,
talk about the Anza Club for a sec.
The Anza Club is a place where I very first started performing in general. So I got to Vancouver, I'm in audio engineering school, and I need somewhere to perform, and I need to start becoming an artist and learning that world. So I go to the Anza Club every single Thursday. And everybody's got guitars, eh? Like, everybody's acoustic guitars. It's an open mic, so everyone's got acoustic guitars, you know, people playing piano. I can't play an instrument, so I roll in with a burnt CD full of, like, Nas and Mobb Deep beats, and I literally give the guy at the thing the CD. He puts on the CD, and I just start rapping at people. And I remember people were so confused every time, and I just kept coming back. And then after a while, I started getting a little bit better, and I was still horrible, but I was getting better, and people were starting to, you know, at least kind of, you know, I was getting known around there, and they're like, oh, the bad rapper's here again. And it kind of taught me a lot about music and being a musician and performing live, because I think after that, I started wanting to get into more acoustic stuff. And that's when I started getting people to play acoustic guitar for me so I could go do those open mics and not be so weird. Ironically, I mean, even today, that's what a lot of my music's based on. But yeah, I would say I definitely made a fool of myself more than 3 times there. Hi, I'm SonReal, and I'm here with Jameson to the 3 trailers. I would say some of my, here kitty, come here. There's a really cute cat there, by the way. I don't know if you guys can see her, but
walking around, yeah.
and because this is a Jameson, I just messed that up. Cheers.
You've got 3 full-length projects. There's One Long Day, One Long Dream, and most recently, they're an LP. I know how you've evolved, but I'm curious to know how you think you've evolved.
First of the 3 was One Long Day, which I actually really like. For an older project, for me, it came out in 2014, which is, I've came a long way since then. I think I'm rapping with a bit of an accent and a lisp still in One Long Day. When I listen back to it, I'm like, oh, wow. I was still trying to figure out my style or whatever. I think it was really cool. I think it was my first time, and One Long Day was my first time working with producers and getting them to do crazy beat switch ups and make songs sound like songs rather than me just rapping or singing over top of a Nas beat. I think it was my first time being like, I have something to say. And then One Long Dream was a project that I worked on for years after that. But I was still learning during that phase too, like crazy. I mean, within the time that I did One Long Dream, my pops passed within that time. I got dropped from a deal, but I think I pulled through and made a really cool body of work that taught me a lot as an artist. And without One Long Dream, I would have never got the Aaron LP, which is the last of the 3, and I put everything I had into it, and I think it's my first body of work that's just ridiculously cohesive, ridiculously musical, and ridiculously honest. I think those 3 things are kind of what made the album, you know, come to life and be what it is. And yeah, it's my most honest body of work that I'm very proud of.
Going off of the honesty, if that's your most honest body of work, how do you think that you've evolved personally?
I think just everything in my life. I think as you grow older and as you go through things in your life and as you go through ups and downs, I find it gives you just perspective. So the bad things that happen in my life aren't as bad. The good things that happen in my life, I can appreciate them more. I feel like during One Long Dream, I was so trying to get there, like trying to be the biggest artist in the world. And
did you know that then, or did you know that?
Oh, no,
yeah, I feel
didn't.
like in every phase, you think you know it.
Yeah, and I might look at this phase and be like, oh, wow, I wasn't at the level I'm at now a year from now.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't know. And like my whole life was music, getting to the next level. Why isn't this connecting? Okay, can I get witnessed? Oh, that really connected for me. Oh, you know, I need to do something crazier. Let's do a video that's even crazier. And I wasn't really listening to like what Aaron wanted to do and what Aaron thought about the music and what, you know, I love those songs and I love those videos and I think they're extremely creative and I love performing them. But I think what I'm doing now is much less influenced by what other people want from me and more influenced by what I want from me.
True, very true. What about post-show rituals?
Oh, what are our post-show? We usually all go grab something to eat, and I also like to enjoy a Jameson ginger lime.
Where'd the hat come from?
What hat?
Let's just lose it for the. Let's just take. You don't need it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So Canadian artists. Let's talk about 3. Who they are. What? How did you just do that?
I just did it. That came out of nowhere, my bad.
What are 3 moments that have made you realize and kind of solidified that you're on the right path?
That's a deep question. One of the first ones was when my father died, when my father passed. I literally just didn't want anything to do with music. I didn't want to listen to music. I didn't want to do it. I was just in a really, and I was on tour when it happened and I kept touring, but I didn't want to go on stage every night. And then I wrote a song called My Friend that was for my father, and it just made everything make sense to me. And everyone has a different way of coping with loss and stuff like that, but for me, it was music that was my coping mechanism, and I think writing that song really made me really realize I was on the right path and realize that I need to go do this. I think other times are seeing, getting letters from my fans that are like, you know, maybe I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, or this is happening, or whatever, and it's your music that keeps me going. That always lets me know I'm on the right path. And then I think just my general happiness. I think just waking up and, you know, sometimes I just literally ask myself in the morning, I'll ask myself, are you happy? And if I can answer yes, and I can say yes in a wholehearted way, I know that I'm on the right path. I know I picked the right career, and I've always, you know, tried to be better and do right by people, and yeah.
My last question is about your musical legacy. When this is all over, you hang up the hat. What does that look like?
Well, first off, I don't think I'm ever gonna stop. Like, I even think when I'm like 75 and 80 and 85, I'm going to find a way to get up and do 1,000 Highways and all the songs I'm gonna record from here and in between there. But what I want people to remember from me is that I was somebody that didn't give up. I was somebody that wasn't necessarily cut from the same cloth as every other artist, and that I would like people to think that I was somebody that promoted true success, which is just honestly being happy and doing what you love. Man, thank you so much for booking this Jameson thing, bro. No problem. I don't know if you've noticed, but every single time I say Jameson 3 times, this cup fills up.
No, it doesn't.
Jameson, Jameson, Jameson.
Whoa.
Thanks, man.